So it's the day before Razzle Dazzle Day, and we're dealing with, once again, some more bad news. And I know some people are like, have we reached our limit yet? Like, how much more of this can we take? So I wanted to come on here and tell a story. A story about a circus, an updated chapter in the circus story. Why? Because stories can give meaning to things that otherwise appear to be meaningless. So Razzle Dazzle Day is the day every year when the people in the town come together, throw razzle dazzles in the air, and celebrate their freedom. And this year was no different, or it should have been no different. And people were planning to barbecue and to go out into the parks and to enjoy themselves. But the day before Razzle Dazzle Day, some very bad news came out of the circus. And you know, this news had been building and people had been anticipating it, but people had also been hopeful because it seemed like the town leaders were really finally fighting and they were actually speaking out against the circus in a concerted way. And so people were beginning to feel hopeful. The makers of laws started organizing, and they even had their leader, Handsome Jefferson, get up and make a very long speech. And because of all the infighting among the clowns and the merchants, people were hoping that they wouldn't get their act together. But the merchants and the clowns found a way to get together and come up with this giant proclamation, which was very disturbing and was guaranteed to create a lot of distress for the whole town. And some of the townspeople were shocked by this, others were not. Some of them were shocked because when the circus first came to town, there were all these promises of, oh, we're going to provide jobs for the town, and we're going to create economic boom for the town, and we're going to increase everybody's food and opportunities because the circus is in town. But lo and behold, when the circus arrived, the only people who benefited were the merchants, the vendors who were outside of the circus selling goods. And they seemed to be the only ones that the circus was interested in helping. But there were some people who kept holding out hope and saying, no, they're going to help us eventually. They're going to help us. I know they are. But the big proclamation that came out on the day before Razzle Dazzle Day made it clear that not only were they not going to help any of the people in the town, but they were on a crash course to destroy the town. And beyond this, there was also something else nefarious afoot. For the head clown had made it clear that the big proclamation had to be passed and announced prior to Razzle Dazzle Day. He was very adamant about the timing of this. And you know, Razzle Dazzle Day, being the celebration of the independence of the town, is a day that most people have off of work. And this was a day also that, because people are very angry, many were planning to engage in dancing and singing on that day, in addition to or in place of barbecuing their hot dogs. And this was good, but this was also not good. For the nefarious one, the head clown with the orange nose had plans for Razzle Dazzle Day. He was trying to set things up in a certain way to create some type of a problem. For the thing about Razzle Dazzle Day is that people like to put off flash bangs. And flash bangs in the sky, flash bangs here, flash bangs there. And the thing about flash bangs is they sound a lot like something else that isn't a flash bang, but is more of a pew pew or a boom boom. And while flash bangs are celebratory and colorful and fun to watch, pew pews and boom booms are not. And so just like things can be done under the cover of darkness, things can also be done under the cover of Razzle Dazzle Day. So what did this mean for the townspeople? Should they all cower and hide? Should they be in a state of great distress? Absolutely not. For what was becoming increasingly clear was how powerful the people are, in particular how powerful their dances are, how powerful their singing is. For there were a group of dancers in Brooklyn who came together and were very successful in ousting the Coldwater clown cars from their neighborhood. And there were also a group of folks down in the swamps of Florida who came out in large numbers to dance and sing against the building of a camp. And there were people dancing and singing in towns and cities across the entire realm, standing up and speaking out and joining together in beautiful line dances. And what all this line dancing was teaching people about was the power of dancing, the power in particular of coordinated dancing by large groups of people. Now, funny aside, when the circus first came to town, there was a particular group of people in the town who all looked a certain way, who all started focusing all of their attention on dancing, and in particular on creating a line dance. And some people looked at them askance and said, "What are you doing? These are crisis times. These are crazy times. You should be out here parading with us. What are you doing dancing?" But as usual, they knew what they were doing. As usual, they were the leaders of a movement. And so now people began to recognize the power of the line dance. And here's the funny thing about art, you know, the more things become challenging, the more they become difficult, the more confined people feel, the more limited they feel, the more we are in need of art. And so ever since the circus came to town in the fall of last year, there were some people who just refused to recognize what a danger the circus was. Yeah, there was pollution. Yeah, there was noise. Yeah, there was fighting. Yeah, they were depleting all the food stores in the town. But, you know, there were still some people who were like, yeah, but, you know, I'm comfortable at home, so I'm just going to stay at home. But when this big proclamation got passed on the day before Razzle Dazzle Day, a lot of people woke up because they realized, OMG, this is going to affect me. I mean, before it was just the gardeners and the housekeepers and the people working at those low-wage jobs that the circus was, you know, given the boot to. But now it's me and it's grandma and it's uncle and it's my neighbor and OMG, it's me. And this is a good thing because it means that enough people are waking up, enough people are recognizing reality for what it is. And this is what we need. We need enough people to wake up, a critical mass of people to suddenly become aware the circus is dangerous. And we're getting there. We're finally getting there. Unfortunately, the way we had to get here was things had to just keep getting worse before certain people said, hey, we got to stop this. And I know it is not fair to the people who have known since November. I know it's not fair. But it is what it is. And we got to do what we got to do. And so this is a message from the crystal gazers. Not all the crystal gazers, because some of the crystal gazers just like to gaze at crystals and talk about things. But then there are other crystal gazers who like to inform people so that they can plan. This message is from the latter. Know that this is our chance, this is our moment to come together as community to dance and to sing. Know also that the head clown has something planned for the Razzle Dazzle Day. Something to distract, something to alarm, something to induce fear. Be heartened by the Haitians in Brooklyn. Be heartened by the Seminoles in Florida. Be heartened by the young people, the people protectors in the City of Angels. Gather your paint, make your signs, learn your dances, get your musical instruments. It's time, people, it's time. And if you're a crystal gazer, it's time to get your crystal out and stop hiding. And if you're a healer, it's time to get your healing bag out and join up with the dancers. We are dancing a dance of remembrance, a dance for future generations. We are dancing a dance of sovereignty, of possibility. We are dancing ourselves into the future that we have envisioned. Won't you join the dance?